Right.
Let's
Hi,
get rid of
fellas. It's me and the
Hello.
fellas. That's the Monday night baseball roundtable.
Hello,
It's,
Monday night.
hello, Douglas. Hello, Malpal. Hello, Mitchell
Hello.
Hartson. Your
Good
brother.
evening.
Hello to your brother too.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Merrill and Mitchell.
Yeah. The twins. He's my twin brother.
Oh, okay. That's perfect. Perfect names for you guys. And George is in the chat room. Nice to see you, George. Always good to see you. Now we have to everybody that's here. Nice to see you. Tonight we're going to talk about. This is a good show because we have players to target late in your draft for the different categories. This is not like, late round target, first base, second base, none of that. It's all about categories. So let's just go ahead and get started because it's jam-packed with information. We actually compared our players early, right before the show, and we're not really overlapping that much. So without further ado, let's get started, and we'll start with players to target late for speed. There are so many speedsters late in the draft. This isn't going to be a very hard one. So Douglas, shoot.
Oh, I'm first. I was looking at something else.
Do you want to go
Hi.
first?
No,
You
I'll
don't
go
have
first.
to.
I'll go first. I don't have a problem. I'm good at this speaking thing.
Okay, do it.
I put a couple guys' names on here because one, I just got through that TFGBI and I was the highest person to pick Ramil Tapia. And going into last year, he said he was going to try to steal 20 bases. He wound up stealing 8, which put him on pace for 20. And he's one of those guys where if he bets on the top of the Rockies lineup, even if it's worse than it is, the runs are going to be good, the average is going to be good, and that's a pleasant 20 stolen bases. Now, admittedly, it's only going to be about 5 or 6 home runs, but the other stuff was there. There were two guys that I did want to talk about that are very deep. There are guys that are battling for jobs in Seattle. They don't know who's going to be a left fielder. Jake Fraley got hurt. Jared Klenick's the one everyone's screaming for. He's also a little bit dinged up, groin strain. The guy who's been hitting over 300 and doing pretty well there is Taylor Trammell. Now, he may not make the roster, but he also might be their starting left fielder. And he's a guy that 2 years ago in the minors had 42 stolen bases. The other guy, and I think this is going to contradict Mitch later on, is I was looking at the Detroit situation, and I actually picked Akil Baddoo, their Rule 5 claim. He can't be put to the minors, so he's going to make the roster. And based on what I see in the spring training game so far, he hits the ball harder than anybody on that team. He runs faster than anybody on that team and fields better than anybody on that team.
Spell his name.
It's Akil Baddoo. He went to the University of Kentucky, and he was claimed Rule 5 off the Twins just this year, so he can't be sent down. But he's got 2 home runs in the minors, both opposite field jobs. So he sprays the ball around. Admittedly, he's a rookie, so he's going to probably bet 230, 240, but he's a guy who could steal you 20-some bases and actually hit you 20 or so home runs. And if you look at that outfield, Victor Reyes, Robbie Grossman, who's the guy? Norm Mazzara, Jacob E. Jones. Are they going to really play Jacob E. Jones on his 200 batting average for the 6th consecutive year?
Yeah, Akil Baddoo is his name. He has no minor league. He does have some minor league, but he hasn't even gotten past. He's
21 years old, but he looks. If you watch him play, he looks like the only other guy on their team that looks like he wants to be playing Major League Baseball is that Willie Castro dude. Everyone else looks overmatched compared to him.
Okay, yeah, it does say that he's doing well this spring.
So he's a real deep guy. I got him at pick number 751. When I drafted him in TFGBI with my last pick number 448, I had to email them and say, hey, he should be an outfielder, not just a UT guy, and they changed it for me.
He's probably not even in there, dude. Okay, so you probably put him in there. You probably got him.
Yeah, it's one of those. I'm the only guy to pick him in that league. He's a deep. Both those guys, Trammell and that, are long shots because there's probably still a 30% chance they don't even make the roster. But if they make the roster and they start, they can help in this category.
Okay, Ramil Tapia is going 237 overall. That's his ADP. This is a team that is going to run this year. We know that for sure because Bud Black is saying that. You have lots of speedsters on this Colorado team, and Tapia is probably going to bat. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to bat leadoff, but he could bat leadoff. And everybody that we talk about today is going after pick 220. So that's where I came up with the cutoff because that's like round 18 or 17, and I thought that's a good place. And you talked about Seattle a little bit. Kalenic is hurt, but he's not He's
They're
a
not
rookie.
seriously hurt.
He's a prospect, so he is absolutely not going to. And we already heard that the insider information when we heard the man
That they're going to keep him down.
Yes, they're going to keep him down, just like every other team that keeps down their players that don't sign a long-term contract. So good speed numbers, good speed people. Okay, Douglas. Now it's your turn. I got to take Mitchell off of mute. I have him on mute. Oh, he unmuted himself. Right? Are you there, Mitchell?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right. So in stolen bases, I hope I'm not duplicating anybody. I had Victor Reyes. He's already been mentioned by Doug. I had Willie Castro. I haven't heard him mentioned. Maybe 10 to 12. Not big, not huge.
I did say that Willie Castro was one of the two guys in Detroit that look like they want to be playing baseball this year.
Okay. All right. By the way, before I go any further, I use the NFBC ADP as my base.
Okay, perfect.
My third one was Austin Hayes. I don't think I heard his name.
No, you're only the second one to go. So,
Yeah.
is Austin Hayes for stolen bases though, or is that for power?
Yeah, he's got not big speed.
Let's talk about speed right now. This one's for speed.
All right. Okay. Well, I was looking.
You only have to say one if you want.
Yeah. Okay. I'm done. Okay.
So who do we talked about Victor Reyes. Let's talk a little bit more about Victor Reyes. His ADP since February 1st is 252, which is really late. And I agree with you. He's excellent late round pick for stolen bases. I think he could probably steal 25 bases at least. I really do think that he's capable of stealing 30 bases. What do you think?
Yeah, if Hinch lets him run, he is. Yes.
Depends where he hits in the lineup. They're talking about Grossman leading off. We'll see how long that lasts.
Okay.
And there's also been some talk about him being on the weak side of the split on the platoon with Mazzara.
Okay, right.
Those are the two things. Victor Reyes was a guy I loved last year, but right now, because even at his best, you're looking at maybe 15-15 with the questions. I'm kind of steering away from that, But I was staring at the thing. But I understand it. If he plays, he can be a 2020 guy.
Yeah, going back to what Malpal said, Rex Grossman had 8 steals in that short summer last year. If you can extrapolate in any way, but if he's in a platoon situation, that changes the dynamic. But he had 8 steals and very few at bats.
I'm looking at Victor Reyes' splits here against lefties and righties. It looks like he hits lefties excellent. He hits righties not that bad, 267 against righties and 342 against lefties. But he typically, since 2018, his splits are really non-existent. He hits both of them decent, 270. Maybe his defense is not great. I'm not sure why he would be in a platoon out. He plays
Isn't he a switch hitter?
He plays all 3 outfield positions, so it looks like he's the starting right fielder. And then but what happens to Nomar Mazzara? I don't know. He could be the right fielder too. Robbie Grossman starts left and Jacoby Jones in center, but Jacoby Jones is not good and he is not acting good right now. So like Doug said, there are not very many people here that are acting like they want to play baseball. Doug, I still think that Reyes is a good late round stolen base guy target. So you're not going to have to draft him early. My favorite, I bet you guys know my favorite because I've already told everybody a lot of times, but I still am a big believer in John Birdie. He doesn't qualify as many positions as he did going into last year, but he qualifies at second base and outfield. This guy will steal bases. I'm not joking around when I say John Birdie is absolutely. Let me see where he's going in ADP. I know I wrote it down. 291. I can't even believe it's 291. He's going 291.
Yeah, he's 30 steals. You're right.
Last season, he stole 9 bases in the shortened season, so he would have been on pace for 25 stolen bases. But he started out the season really bad. I was actually feeling like a fool, kind of like embarrassed. I told everybody to go grab Birdie, but he started to get it together, and that's my choice for stolen bases late. Go ahead, Malpal.
Okay, the guy I'm throwing out there, and I don't endorse taking this guy, but if you want to talk about ADP, I have him based on that the sheet you gave me, Andrea, at 467 is Kevin Kiermaier.
Yep.
This guy, he's a disaster batting average, and he's a disaster with health, but that guy is fast. If he can get 450 at bats, you're looking at 20 bags and probably 10 to 15 homers. And picking at almost the 500th player in the draft, especially in an only league, seems to me a really good, fifth outfielder.
Kevin Kiermaier, I think he's is he splitting time? So along the same lines with Kevin Kiermaier, you have Manny Margot. Maybe they're going to be left because that's a lefty and a righty between Kiermaier and Manny Margot. But I thought he was worth mentioning too because this guy steals bases just like Kevin Kiermaier. Both of these guys steal bases. If you're in an AL only league, like I can imagine that both of them are going to get enough stolen bases to matter, right? Don't you think?
In an only league?
At least in an only league. Both of these guys are going super late. Last year, Manny Margot stole 12 bases. That means that's on pace 32 bases. He would have been on pace for 32 bases. He actually, Manny Margot. You've dealt with Manny Margot being a Padres fan. He used to be there. But now this is Tampa Bay we're talking about. So Tampa Bay, you just never know who's going to get the at-bats in Tampa Bay. It's just a crapshoot over there.
It is a crapshoot, that's for sure. But that's why he's going at 467. So I'm just looking at value. Then
that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Okay,
I had a couple other guys I just want to throw out that I think are going to play every day, and they may get 12 to 15 bags. You had mentioned Colorado. I think they're going to run because their offense isn't very good, so they're going to have to manufacture runs. I like Brendan Rodgers.
He's hurt now.
He did a hammy the other day, but he's fast, and I think he's young, and he's an aggressive player. And the other solid guy that I like is J.P. Crawford. He's got no competition for at bats.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can write him in full season, 12 to 15 bags, and he's going surprisingly low because of all the competition at shortstop.
Right. Yeah, shortstop is super deep. I have another one, Elvis Andrus. Remember him? He's going right now ADP 361. He qualifies at shortstop, but he can actually play at third base, second base, and shortstop just in case they need him to. I think he's going to play every day. He makes contact 85% of the time. He also fits into the batting average category that we're going to talk about because he only strikes out 13% of the time. So Elvis Andrus, he could steal bases. And Ahmed Rosario is another one that can steal bases if he gets a job playing. Because unfortunately for him and the guy that the guy that beat him out for playing time last year actually traveled with him, now is in Cleveland too with him. So it's like this guy never probably goes away in his nightmares. Andres Jimenez. But Ahmed Rosario is not being drafted till 356 overall since February 1st. And we are done with the speed. Douglas, do you have any more that you thought of, or do you want to just say you've been very quiet?
I put my mute on because there were two things that came up based on things. Like one guy I was shocked didn't come up, and I was going to leave it was D. Strange Gordon.
Yes. Okay, I know, right?
But a weird thing, I just saw on Twitter about 10 minutes ago. Tomorrow, Bell, the coach of the Reds, said that tomorrow Eugenio Suarez is starting at shortstop.
Awesome, dude. I love it.
Who's going to play third?
Jonathan India would be the next logical step up guy. Maybe Nick Senzel. One of those two guys. Yeah, so it might change things a little bit. I mean, what D. Strange Gordon has done in the preseason looks good enough to me to play, but there's a little bit of we're here giving information. If you think he's a lock, he may not be the lock. Then again, tomorrow you might see Eugenio Suarez boot 3 balls in the infield, and the experiment will be over, right?
I know he lost some weight. I know he lost weight. Suarez lost weight. He might be able to steal bases now. We're not really sure, but he never really did that before.
I don't think he's a stolen base guy, but if you could get 40 home runs out of a 250 hitting shortstop, that's pretty good. And flexibility. So maybe that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because I've been a big fan of D. Gordon my entire life. Matter of fact, his brother lets me use his song for my opening intro. And my brother went to college with him. I root for D. Gordon,
for sure.
He's never really been able to field shortstop.
But he never really played shortstop, isn't he? Second
Shortstop,
base.
he played shortstop with the Dodgers when he came up, and he was. Now, admittedly, some of those errors are because he's super fast. He got a few balls that no one else would get to, but he was always in that like 20-26 error range, Marcus Semien-ish in his early days. Maybe he got better, but they moved him to second base. He flourished there. He's actually a plus center fielder with his speed, but that's the real question. Can he actually play shortstop? Because he wasn't in the past.
That's where the defensive metrics are distorted and misleading, because the guys who have got enough speed to even get to a ball, the other shortstops would just let it run by them, and then they get there instead of making a great play.
The story on D. Gordon is actually different. It was more that his baseball knowledge was low. He never played baseball, not little league, not anything, until he hit college.
Right.
So his big problem was that he would get to balls and he would try to make a throw when he shouldn't make a throw. Okay. And that's where a lot of those errors came from. Admittedly, we're sitting here 9 years later. He's probably smarter than he was then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably not smarter, but more experienced and know when to not make a throw. But that was where the bulk of the problem was. Like, you got to a ball and you're like, I'm going to get the guy out. And you make this crappy throw at some awkward angle, and then it gets away from the first baseman and you have an error.
Okay.
But anyway. Ready? We're moving on. We're going to power now. Power is always fun, right? Malpal, do you want to start with power?
Sure. I think my favorite power guy in this that's I have here is 267. It's Kyle Seager.
Good one.
He's a home run machine. He may struggle in average. I like that Seattle lineup even better this year than last year. He was pretty good last year. I think 30 home runs is a possibility, 25 to 30 for sure.
He did have a good season last year. He had been injured before that. And I think that if you have him, Douglas, on your list, then all four of us have Kyle Seager at some place.
I don't have Kyle Seager on my list.
Okay, so three of us have Kyle Seager on the list as a late round target. For sure he hits for power. For sure he probably isn't going to be great on your batting average. But if he can stay healthy, he's going to get play time every day at third base. Anybody have anything else to add about Kyle Seager? No, just the fact that let's see where he's going in the ADP since February 1st. Do you have that, Malpal?
I had him on the list you gave me at 267.
Yeah, since February, he's even dropped a little bit at 276. So that's really great. The next one, God, he's sitting right next to Carlos Santana on the list. Okay. Carlos Santana. He's the on base. Okay. We're going to talk about him and on base percentage, guys. Okay. Mitchell.
Okay. I had a 220 right on the border. NFBC. I had Randall Grichuk.
Okay.
Right at 220. Right at 220. Mm-hmm. I also had Ryan McMahon, who's 228 in NFBC. And I had J.D. Davis, who's a 232 in NFBC. Now, they will hurt you. McMahon will hurt you in batting average, and he'll hurt you outside cores. But he can play third, second. I think he qualifies
everywhere. I have him in a best ball.
First, too.
I think he's one of these.
First, second, and third.
Right. So that's what I had.
I love him. I mean, I just drafted him, so I'm kind of biased with that. His contact rate is not that great, but at Coors, that makes up for a little bit of a bad contact rate. I don't know where he bats in the lineup, but the fact that he qualifies at first, second, and third, he's great for those leagues that you can move players around every day, or best ball leagues where you might need a fill-in because somebody's going to get hurt. You just don't know ever where they're going to get hurt. So where did you say his ADP is?
He's at 228. He's 8 lower than Grichuk. But here's my interest in him. He's supposedly going to play third base, and with Arenado gone, he's got a full-time gig.
Yeah,
he's always been in and out of the lineup. He could get 500 plate appearances.
I'm going to.
He's got a full-time gig this year.
He absolutely does. This is true. Let's look at Colorado's lineup in the last couple of days. So they have him batting second.
Ross Reese first.
Today he batted second. I do this at RotoWire. They have the last 5
You're right.
Okay. I'm just a little nervous about the Rockies infield because to me they still seem to have a lot of players. I mean, they want, there's Garrett Hampson, there's Brendan Rodgers, there's fortunately Ian Desmond is opting out, but then you got Crone takes over first base. There is a chance that somebody in that group could play themselves out of time.
Yeah. You got you also got Fuentes at first base.
And Fuentes, who I think is grossly underrated.
He's a youngster, but okay, check this out. I don't know where Ryan McMahon will be in the batting order, but he's batting in second in the lineup and 8th in the lineup. He and it doesn't. I'm looking to see the handedness of the pitcher. These are 2 left-handed pitchers that we're talking about. One time he was 2nd and one time he was 8th. But I do see Brendan Rodgers in there a lot. He's been playing every day until he got hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the injury there.
Who else did you?
I was gonna say that Fuentes came up as a third baseman. He moved to first base because he was blocked by Arenado. That is a possibility there too.
Okay. Who else did you touch on, Mitchell?
Well, I just had those 3. Davis, the Mets were talking to Michael Franco, but it appears the Orioles have gotten him.
Yeah, they did. They stole him.
I'm thinking with Jonathan VR in town, they may move the second baseman over to third and play VR at second. I've got a brain block. McNeil. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. They may move third base. McNeil, I think, came up as a third baseman, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Davis will get that many plate appearances, but I did have him on my list.
Okay, for me,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
You had mentioned Grichuk. Aren't we worried about his at bats?
Well,
a little bit, yes, a little bit.
Who's the Toronto outfield? Right now he's penciled in the outfield, isn't he?
Is it Springer, Hernandez, and one of the kids?
Teoscar?
All right, Malpal is right. Grichuk might get some DH appearances, but Rowdy Tellez is one of the only left-handed batters in the entire Toronto lineup.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
There was some talk about Grichuk playing first. I don't know if they've done any of that in the spring training.
I have not heard that.
So it looks like for their batting order, it doesn't say what positions that they played, but I do see Grichuk in here. The past 7 games he's played, this doesn't really say too much, but he is on and off. He doesn't play every day. I don't think anybody plays every day. I'm looking at the depth charts, though, and I see that Randall Grichuk, for the DH, he would be 3rd in line. Here's the thing. Rowdy Tellez is DH, but he can play. Where can he play?
First base.
First base. That's where Vladdy plays.
Yep.
So that's a problem. And he is the only lefty in the lineup. Maybe he's good late round target for power. Rowdy Tellez, is he a good late target for power? Maybe better than Grichuk.
Absolutely. 266.
Isn't Kevin Biggio lefty?
Yes, he is. He's the only other one, though. He's the only other one.
After they watch Vlad fail to get a few line drives that go into doubles, Vladdy will end up as a DH and Tellez at first.
Okay. Either way, let's change the Grichuk target to Rowdy Tellez target, right? If you don't mind, Mitchell, can we do that?
That's fine. I'm good.
Okay. Douglas, did you go yet, or do you want to go? Maybe you don't ever want to go.
All right, I got two guys, and
I know you're gonna say Duvall, and it's gonna piss me off because I love it. Duvall.
And Duvall, I targeted him in every league I played in. He's a great 5th outfielder, and he's a guy that bats 4th for Miami. Not the best ballpark, but he gets to play 80 games away.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked him last year. I liked him this year. He hit 10 home runs last year, and less than enough at bats, and he actually closed the season year before super hot. There's a guy that's going to get you 30 home runs. And
30.
And he's batting 4th for a Marlins team, which a lot of people think is a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because I don't think they're a great team. I think they're an average team, but still he's going to get RBIs. He's going to get the other stuff. And then And then I was watching closely all those power hitting first baseman types, and what Bobby Dahlbeck has been doing in the spring training kind of puts him ahead of Jared Walsh a little bit in my book. Now, admittedly, he's a guy that's probably going to hit 240, 230.
Oh, you're lucky if you get 240 out of him.
You know, but the home runs there is 30 plus power, and not
he's
much.
a dead pull hitter with a big uppercut swing. I mean, he's in the right park.
I just think like if you're in a deep league, it's the kind of guy that I like to have in my utility spot if I'm not drafting one of the big DHs early on. You know,
Bobby Dalbec is going 296th on average. Okay, 296. So that's that. Bobby Dalbec 40% strikeout rate. So if you're worried about your batting average, do not put this guy on your team. But absolutely, the power is real. One of the hardest hitters in baseball. And then back to Duvall, batting in the middle of the lineup. Excellent. He's going to play every day, right? He's 30 home runs guaranteed. I'm not going to guarantee, but
I would say that there's a little chance he might wind up like 28, 29 because of the park factor, but he's going to get a bunch of them.
He is going 361st overall. I can't even believe that. Like, some of these guys are just way unbelievable deals that you're getting right now. For me, I will say in the power department, we talked about Kyle Seager. We talked about Duvall. I think that Cole Calhoun, who is going 300th overall right now, I know he's hurt, and I know that it's going to be a few weeks before he's going to start the season late. But if you're looking for power and it's really late in your draft, I mean, 300 overall, he might even go later because of the fact that he's hurt. Like, I just got him in a league that it was like round 35 and he was still available. And I said, you know what? I think it's time to draft Calhoun because hopefully he comes back. If he doesn't come back, oh well, but he will hit for power. That's for sure. I also like Jesus Aguilar going 379th overall. I know that people don't think that he's going to have everyday playing time, but I don't see why he wouldn't have everyday playing time. Since last year, he hit 277. Hold on. But, he can hit for power. He's definitely a late round, maybe a decent target for power.
They like Garrett Cooper too, Andrea.
Garrett Cooper. Okay, let's talk about Garrett Cooper a little bit. Is he going to get playing time? Let me look him up.
He may share them with Aguilar.
Yes. If he doesn't hit as good as Aguilar, he's not getting shit. He's not getting the at bats if he doesn't.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to remind you that he's out there, and I think Mattingly likes him. I don't think he's going to play ahead of Aguilar.
Well, I don't really know. You might be right, but he's
they're both right-handed hitters, so it's not like you got a left and a right choice here.
No, you don't. So you really can't.
So that plays to the favor of Aguilar, I believe. If Cooper is left-handed,
I'm looking at their splits right now, and neither of them have like any stark splits. So
right.
Hey, Douglas, I'm surprised you didn't pick Jock Peterson.
Yeah, I think Jock Peterson is awful.
Is his ADP higher than 220?
Yeah, it is, but Jock Peterson.
Actually, it's not.
Jock Peterson is a symbol of the Chicago Cubs committing to another 110-year run of not winning the World Series.
What is wrong with you?
We don't care.
Do you know
he
don't care
he's a good
anymore.
player, but he's over 5 years he's averaged just about 30 home runs. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. This guy has prolific power. He can't hit, but he's got prolific power.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't like the idea of stocking a team that I root for with players who can't hit.
He can hit, and he's hitting right now.
I'm just agreeing with Malpel now.
This guy's already hit 5 or 6 home runs in the spring.
Yeah, but it's spring.
And he's gonna. But you can't
he's a
tell
30
me
home run hitter.
All-Star break is 209 average. He'll hit 14 home runs. But the average is going to crush you. Bobby Dahlbeck has a higher average than Jock Peterson. And more home runs.
Maybe, but
and the fact that you say maybe, that's like this guy is.
I think all these guys that are 250 or lower, they all got problems, and it's mostly their average.
Yes.
The truth is, last year the average batting average. Now it's different for guys that play in a fantasy league. The average batting average last year was actually 245, so 250 isn't bad. Now for the guys that we draft in a league, it's going to be about 262. It moves up a little bit, 258, somewhere in there. I'm just guessing because we don't draft the really bad guys, right? But
Well,
250 isn't bad. If a guy hits 250, I'm fine with that. The problem
Okay.
with Peterson is I don't see him betting 220.
Here's the thing. Just like Malpel said, all of these guys are going to have problems, issues. They're not being drafted early. That's why we're talking about them. But Jock Peterson, it's time to give him another chance, okay? I know he hit horrible last year, but his contact rate is always like mid-70s, okay? 75% contact rate for the most part. Also, he doesn't strike out that much, not anything compared to what Bobby Dalbec strikes out 42% of the time. Jock Peterson strikes out 24% of the time, which used to be like unheard of, but now everybody strikes out 24% of the time. I just think he had last year he still hit for power, but his batting average on balls in play was only 200. So give him a chance. If he gets every day at bats, he doesn't hit that bad. Like he had 249, 248 batting average. So he's not great, but he's not
horrible. 210, 212. It's like
no.
Half his years he's batted 212 or younger under.
No,
half his years he's batted around 240. He's a 225 hitter.
No, he's not, dude. I don't agree with you because the 3-year average, he's at least 230, 249, 248.
The year before that, he had 212. 2 years before that, he had 210. And that 210 year was that year that he started off. Remember, he had like 17 home runs by All-Star break. Got voted to the All-Star game.
Yes.
And then for the rest of the year, he batted 165. He's a guy that's prone to such horribly ugly droughts that I don't like it. Now, the Cubs aren't playing for anything, and that hurts. He's the symbol of it, so I probably hate him more than he should be hated for.
I know you're a real hater, dude.
But yeah, I will pay $100 to any team that plays fantasy baseball that keeps Jock Peterson on their roster for the whole year and wins. He's a guarantee. If the Cubs know they're not going to win with him, you're not going to win with him.
Okay. Well, let's move. That's a good subject to move on. Let's move on from power. Now, let's talk about the nemesis, okay? Batting average. We'll talk about the batting average. Now, these are players that you could target if you find yourself with Jock Peterson on your roster late in drafts, okay? I'm going to.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, I'm going to say that Yuli Gurriel should be on your list for batting average. He plays first base every day for Houston. I don't know what the hate is for this guy. Well, I kind of do, but seriously, he's getting drafted 304 overall since February 1st. And Yuli is not a bad player. And first of all, his batting average is going to save the day. I'm trying to find him on my list. Batting average. Oh, last year it was horrible. I'm talking about his. A lot of
people had 1 year bad, but I'm willing to forgive Gurriel. He had so many good years before that.
Yeah, 290. His batting average is 290, 290, 290. He lost 15 pounds coming into the spring training, so that's always good. It means he's been working on it. Obviously he noticed that he had some flaws last year. He's getting old now, so I shouldn't even tell you his age.
He is. They're not about it. Yeah.
He's still going to have a good batting average. That's for sure. So I would say that he's going to play every day, and I absolutely think that he's a good late round target.
I agree.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. In Roto Champ shows his projections. Steamer projections are 272, which is reasonable, with 23 home runs and 85 runs batted in. Let me tell you something. That's not bad for as far down the ADP as he is. That's not bad.
Not at all. I also have on the list Corey Dickerson for batting average, because when you consider the fact that the batting average on average, like Douglas, you just said it was like what was it last year? It was horrible.
45 last year was the overall batting average.
So with Corey Dickerson, he batted 258 last year, but typically you're going to get a guy that's going to bat closer to 300 than 250. He is going to play every day too for Miami. Yes, it's not a great park for home runs, but he was on pace last year for 19 home runs if it would have been a full season. And Corey Dickerson is hitting near the middle of the lineup, I believe, and he is very reliable. He played in 52 games last year, so he's another one that I have on my list, and I'll move on now and let you guys do it. So, go ahead, Mitchell.
Okay, and just 1 second. Sorry.
I like both of the Dickersons. Alex and Corey.
I've always,
kind of
I've always liked Corey Dickerson. I've always liked him because he's underrated. And when he gets a chance to play, you're right, Andrew. You're absolutely right.
Guess where he's going? Guess where he's going in ADP? I didn't tell you.
Where?
Guess where he's going? 403.
Yeah,
403.
no, he's better. He's better than that.
Yeah.
I had David Peralta of all people. He's
He's a good
260. He's a 263 position in NFBC. And my second one I had was Jorge Polanco, who I believe is going to play second base. He's not going to light up the kitchen with a 300 batting average, but with the averages hovering around between 250 and 260, 273 with 500 bats actually helps you.
David Peralta is awesome though for this specific category. 293 is what they're projecting him to do. 293. Exactly. And he's still going to hit. He's going to get 16 home runs. He's going to get 80 RBIs. He's going to get his runs aren't going to be great because he doesn't hit at the top. But David Peralta is an excellent late round pick. Do you know? You wrote down his ADP at
in NFBC? His ADP is 263.
Okay, I have it since February at 277. So even better.
Now, Andy, let me ask you this: when Calhoun comes back, who goes to the bench in the Arizona outfield?
I don't know. Dude.
Well, the real question is who's going to play right now with Calhoun out. It's probably going to be LeCastro, and LeCastro will go back to the bench, right?
All right, okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
That just put me on the spot, and I have to just draw a blank because I can't picture Arizona.
That's all right. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
It's going to be Marte in center, right, and then
right, and Calhoun in right,
and Peralta in left.
Peralta will go to left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks right now like. And
LeCastro is a good source of steals for the first couple of weeks.
LeCastro he's probably going to be the one, right? Is he the one that's going to take over at right field?
That would be my guess.
That's what Doug. I agree with Doug.
Okay, good. What about Josh Van Meter? No on him. Or Pavin Smith is another one we were talking about the other day. A youngster.
Van Meter's not going to get in the lineup.
Okay. I just know. Go ahead. I do like your choices. Let's go over them just real quick and say the names. We have David Peralta for sure. That's a great one. Who else did you say?
My other one was Jorge Polanco.
Okay, this is for batting average, right?
Right.
You said he's going to play every day.
He's going to second base with Anderton Simmons moved to short.
He's in a great lineup. He's
going to go to second base, and Luis. Actually, Arias is a good one for batting average, but I question his plate appearances now.
I would too.
He's a good batting average guy, but I don't think he's below 220 I didn't check him.
Okay, that's good for batting average. Go ahead, Douglas.
I'm up. I got two kind of weird guys. One of them I did draft. The other one I did not draft. These guys are way out there. Going at 608 and 544. The guy that I like more, I'll go is the 544. So I'll start with 608. Donovan Solano of the San Francisco.
608?
Yeah, Donovan Solano over the last 2 years has hit 328 and given you nothing much besides that. Right? But that's good batting average. But for some odd reason, and I can't find anybody to tell me otherwise, the Giants are going to bat him third this year.
They're not going to put him in the lineup unless they have to.
Tommy Lastella's going to play second base.
Yeah.
He's gonna bet. Everything I've seen has him batting third for the Giants.
But where is he playing? Doug Lastella's going to lead off and play second base.
I think Lastella's at third.
He also played. Donovan Solano can play third.
Longoria's at third.
Yes, he's day to day right now.
Evan Longoria.
Well, he is probably a better bat the ball hitter than Longoria is at this point.
Right, but Longoria is getting paid.
Getting paid. Let's see here. I was looking at
a lot.
I was looking at two different things, and it had him batting third. The other guy I like more, but it should be noted that this guy it has Lastella starting at third and Solano starting at second. Lastella has played first, second, and third in his career.
He can, yes, he can play that.
Where's Longoria playing?
Where does Longoria get to play? Where's William?
Yeah, there is a little bit of problem there, but we're just talking about batting average.
I know.
And this guy has hit enough, and it looks like he's going to hit the meat of the lineup. He may not be empty stuff because you might get runs and RBIs this year.
The bottom line is, you're right. He has a good batting average. You're right.
And you mark it off. The other guy I actually like better, and he's a really weird guy, and that is on the Angels. I like Jose Iglesias. I drafted him in every league I've had a chance to because I think that something weird happened last year. He hit 373 last year, admittedly in only about half a season, but everyone else played a half season. But based on his batting profile, his expected batting average was actually 356. He hit 373, but he was expected to hit 356. He's gone from being one of the worst hitters in baseball to last year, based on expected stats, being one of the best hitters in baseball.
For sure.
I know he's only hitting about 250 in spring training, but to say the thing that he hits the ball harder than he has, like he's moved he was going into last year, he was among the lowest in exit velocity. He improved his exit velocity, so he's now middle of the pack, which is a huge difference with 80 going from 83, 84 to 86, 87, right?
This is a good one for batting average. Okay, Douglas. Jose Iglesias is perfect, and he will get in the lineup every day, so you don't have to worry about
I'm just
that.
saying that the batting average is real based on everything setting up.
And the defense is real too, and it's
the defense is real. This is the big one on him, is that his sweet spot percentage, him hitting the ball the right way, is 42%. That's
great.
incredible.
Yeah, he's good. Going back to the Giants, you guys, I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart right here, and I'm telling you, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 out of 8 are lefties. 5 out of 8. 5 out of.
Solano is right-handed.
Solano is one of the only ones that's right-handed, so maybe that'll get him in the lineup.
That's your point I think you're making.
I was just surprised to see this many lefties on one team.
Wow. Yeah, I did not notice it. It looks like there might be a fair number of platoonings going on.
Talk to me, Malpal.
Real quick, going back to the stolen base, I think the obvious guy that I don't think we talked about was Miles Straw, the ultimate one-trick pony.
Yes, he is.
If he can stay in the lineup, he's 30 bags. Anyways, hitting, I took a different. My favorite was Peralta by far. He jumped out at me. Little different angle. It's solely because of his position. Is Buster Posey. I think he had a last full year he hit like 260, but he's a career 290 hitter, and it seems he's healthy given his position where there's just tremendous, terrible catching. Yeah. If you can get 400 at bats and get 275, 280, that could be the difference between 3 or 4 points in a batting average that's tight. If you end up with a guy that's hitting 210 with 500 at bats versus a Posey at 350 at bats, that could make a difference.
For sure.
The other guy, I like Tapia if he gets to play. This guy's a good hitter. Mm-hmm. He's in a good park. He's not a power guy, but he's perfect for that park, and that outfield is huge.
What about his batting average? How's his batting average?
I think he's a 280 hitter.
Okay.
There's not many 300 hitters on
he did his 300 last year.
No, absolutely not. There's not a lot of 300 hitters late in drafts for sure, but more than there used to be. I have to say that. Let's move on to. You're finished, Malpal? You said Tapia,
Yeah, I'm done.
And we've also brought up Miles Straw, who I don't think is going to have a problem getting into the lineup. I do think he's going to have a problem staying at the top of the lineup, but there's really nobody that is competing with him in center field for the Astros, so that's just the way it is. I don't think he's going to have a lot of competition for that spot.
I looked up the ADP. It's 343.
Yeah, so that's great. Joey Votto is my choice for OBP. Of course, it's Joey Votto.
That's a good one.
We also have Carlos Santana, which I know somebody else is going to bring up, but right now Joey Votto is going 361 overall. Now, he is hurt, so be paying attention to that before you go out and put him on your roster. But Joey Votto has always been great at on-base percentage. There's not much more to say about that. Go ahead, Malpal.
Well, Santana's the other obvious one, but how about a guy like Brandon Belt?
Perfect. Brandon Belt's perfect for the on-base percentage.
I didn't
He's hurt too, though.
His history, but last year he had an over 400 OBP.
This guy is like the most underrated dude. First baseman in baseball for sure, right?
He could be.
I like Brandon Belt.
Brandon Belt's great. Who do you have, Douglas?
I'm not going to go into any great details. I don't play in OBP leagues a lot, but I wrote down Carlos Santana. I think the one guy, because I remember somebody on one of our shows, Lenny Nelson, sort of went on about Aaron Hicks, and that guy walks a ton. And when he plays, he's going to be salvaged by the walks. Mark Canna and Brian Anderson are two other guys. Probably of the bunch, Santana in an on-base league is probably the best, and then Brian Anderson is the safest.
Can you believe Santana is going so late? I mean, this is just a
Well, I think it's because of most people play in average leagues. It's pushing it down. I think that he'd be under 225 in an OBP league.
That's probably true. Absolutely. But overall, he's going 275th overall. That's crazy. Right after Jerks and Profar, which is another one that I can't even believe is going that late, especially with the injuries going on in San Diego. But either way, I'm not trying to get off track here.
No, I agree. There's lots of good value this year.
Belt, let me see where he's going. Belt, he's hurt too right now, but I absolutely think
he's working his way back. He's not just hurt. He'll probably be back, worst case, a couple weeks into the season. But
Brandon Belt,
he's targeting opening day.
450 overall, but he's this is another one. He's gone as early as 248. Still really late. Okay, Mitchell, who do you have for on base percentage?
Well, I have Jorge Blanco, who's showing in Roto Champs is 353.
Okay.
OBP.
Okay.
I also had Tapia. I don't have his OBP, but I had Tapia as well as Polanco.
Okay. Good. Let's move on to well, I could say Benintendi is a good one for on-base percentage. I don't know exactly where he's going. I'm not a huge fan of Benintendi, but I do think that he is a decent on-base percentage. Let's move on. Are we moving on to pitching now, or what we're going to find?
We haven't done plate appearances.
Okay, do plate appearances. Malpal, go ahead. You start with plate appearances.
The player that jumped out at me was Elvis Andrews. There is no competition in Oakland at shortstop. They're in a desperate situation. That's why they traded for him.
Yeah.
I see him. There's a lot of guys, him and Colton Wong. Wong's going to hit leadoff. As long as he hits a little, he's going to get a lot of at-bats too. But Andrews is my favorite for at-bats.
And Andrews he's going absolutely late. I think I brought him up did I talk about him for stolen bases? Yeah. He's going really late. That's absolutely Elvis Andrus, 361 overall. His contact rate is 85%. Okay, just doesn't get much better than that. Mitchell, who do you have for at bats late in the draft?
I have Nick Senzo, who they claim is going to play every day.
Okay.
I have Aaron Hicks, who's a starter. And believe it or not, I have Kyle Seager, who is a regular. He plays all the time.
Okay, check this out.
We're not talking about batting average. We're talking about plate appearances.
At bats, yes. Same.
Seager will get 5. Each of those guys I told. Well, Hicks of the 3, Hicks might be because he's injury prone.
All right.
When was the last time? I was going to say. Let me ask you a question about Hicks. When was the last time Hicks had, when was the last time that Hicks soared in plate appearances? Well, I'm just joking with you because we all know that they're just injured.
That's fair.
But fair. I'm just joking with you because I had an argument with my friend, Fan Addict, right? He's a big fan of Aaron Hicks. He is high on. He thinks he's a great late round pick. And
that was the one I was talking about. I heard that.
Yeah, maybe he is a great late round pick for sure. If he plays, if he is healthy, he will get to play all the time. So that's a good one. My pick go ahead, Douglas. Sorry to cut you off.
His composite play appearances on Roundtable Champs is 472. But he can get injured. That's the problem. But that's a problem with everybody. But sure. I will confess, Andrea, he is probably more injury prone than a lot of people we've been talking about the last 15 minutes.
For sure. That is a given.
I will give you that.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you guys ready?
Yeah. At bats. I'm not going to go long on this because I don't really know. This is sort of a AL only thing, and I don't do much of that.
Okay.
But Evan White is going to play all the games at first base for Seattle, and he's going to get the at-bats because of that. And Nick Ahmed has always gotten all the reps at shortstop in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Both of them are not they're not so horrible hitters. They're going to hurt you. You know.
I
I
totally
agree with those two a lot. Yeah, those are two good ones.
Okay, I have this player actually fits in batting average also, and maybe even on base percentage. He fits into the at bats for sure, no doubt about it. It's Cesar Hernandez. He will hit 280. He will get everyday at bats. He will play second base for the Cleveland Indians, and this guy is an absolute great for your batting average. He'll get 650 plate appearances without a doubt. What do you guys think of that one? Cesar Hernandez.
I was personally
Absolutely.
shocked that he's that far down. I thought he'd be drafted higher.
Cesar Hernandez is going, check it out, 380 overall, 380.
Wow. Yeah. It's just I've drafted in 3 leagues, and he's gone much higher in all 3 leagues that I've been in.
Well,
Really?
Problem with Hernandez, he has no power, and if he doesn't run,
he's not running.
This is not for that. This is for average.
But
Right.
that's why Malpel's right. That affects your ADP because that was
talking
part
about
of
ADP. Yeah.
He used to get 15 steals, and he's pretty much, huh?
He didn't steal anything last year. Don't even count on some stolen bases from him because he's not doing it anymore. He's 31 this year. But if you need batting average and you need the at bats, I mean, I don't know. This would have to be. That's exactly right. That's why he's going so late in drafts for sure. There's no question about it. I still like him for batting average.
I agree with that.
And what did I say for at bats? He's definitely going to get at bats.
He's projected for 509 plate appearances.
Oh, okay. I have him projected for 702.
You said 650. You said 650 a minute ago.
I have him projected at RotoWire for 667 plate appearances. And 688 plate appearances is what he's projected for.
Who gets almost 700 plate appearances? Nobody.
He did in 2018 and 2019. He got 667.
Really? Okay.
He bats towards I think he bats at the top of the lineup.
He does.
Hitters who stay healthy for a full year on good lineups will get 700 at bats.
Okay.
I think guys like Jimmy Rollins did it a lot. And
okay.
He also has a good on base percentage, and just in case you're looking for that too. Okay, so
he's far better than the ADP shows. Can we all agree with that?
Yes, let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
Malpal.
I agree. The only thing about Hernandez is if Cleveland tanks, like if they get off to a terrible start, they got a plethora of middle infielders, including in the minors. Hernandez is on a 1-year deal, I believe. That would be where he just gets out. He gets ousted if they go to a total 1 year.
Come Rosario into second.
Right? Yes, he needs a job. Absolutely, that is very true. What he just said. Ahmed Rosario's there, waiting for playing time, and Malpal also mentioned the slew of youngsters that they have. I agree with you. That's a good point. What about for you? Who do you have on your list for at bats, or did we already go there?
You did me already.
Douglas, did you go? You already
went? Got me. Evan White and Nick Ahmad. I did mention Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson's another one.
Evan White is a good one. I like it. He will play every day. He was horrible last year, but I'm a big fan of Babs.
When people are really young, I'll give them a chance to get better.
Absolutely. You got to give them a couple seasons to live. But as far as the skill set goes, Babs still likes Evan White, not as much as she did last year, but really high marks on his skill set. So we'll see. Let's move on to pitching. It's been an hour. If you guys have to go, I understand, but I would love for you guys to stay and we'll finish up pitching.
I'm good.
Everybody good? Around. Okay. Let's start with late round targets for strikeouts. I might not be able to.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I don't want to go first.
Malpal?
You go first.
I'll go first if you want.
Okay.
I'm done having this guy on my roster, but Matthew Boyd is
for strikeout.
Huge strikeout.
200.
Okay.
Pitcher, and kind of my real long shot wild card would have is Rogers from Miami. This guy's a hard thrower, over 10 strikeouts per 9 if he gets the innings.
He's one of my guys, Mal. Good work.
Yeah, so I think he's isn't he in the rotation?
He's the fifth guy in the rotation. You mind if I talk about him a little bit?
Please
Yeah,
do.
go ahead.
People like that entire Miami Marlins starting those pitchers, Pablo Lopez, Eliezer Hernandez. There's something like about all of them, and then they forget about this guy. He actually led in K per nine out of all their guys. He has a 30% strikeout rate. Now, there's it's only 7 games. We don't know what the thing's going on, but considering he's going, what do I have him marked at 532nd?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good pick. Now, admittedly, I'll throw the other guy in when it comes to me. Eliezer Hernandez is still beyond 220. He actually has a better K rate at 32%. But there's something there, and everyone just keeps forgetting it. They love the other guys. They forget Trevor, and I screw him up with all the other Trevors.
Trevor Rogers is his
Trevor
name.
Williams.
Trevor Rogers. He's got to be better than Trevor Williams. Okay.
But that's my Trevor guy.
He is. I do think he's in the rotation. He's in Miami, great park for pitchers, right? And he's going 525. He's absolutely not known right now, so that's a good sleep. It's a good late round target for
and
sure.
You got 2 of us saying that that's a late round target, so that means something.
I
That means don't pick him.
Mitchell, do you like him? I think all 4 of us like this guy. We could all agree.
His ERA will kill you, but we're still talking about Robbie Ray, right?
No,
if we're looking for strikeouts, he's good.
I'm sorry, Matt Boyd. I'm sorry.
Matt Boyd. I have him on my list.
Matt Boyd will give you innings more than a lot of the people that are out there. But his ERA will hurt you. And probably his whip will too.
Okay, a lot of these guys. Well, we didn't. Let's say there's a reason they're going this late in draft. So we're talking about strikeouts right now. Are you going to say Robbie Ray? Is that? I mean, I would be surprised.
I had Robbie Ray down, but I confess I don't have his ADP. He may be under.
I mean, there's no doubt that Robbie Ray's going to get some strikeouts, but the strikeouts are too painful there.
I understand. You're right.
No, I mean,
would you rather have your poison of Robbie Ray or Matthew Boyd?
Robbie Ray.
I'd probably go Boyd on the hopes that the dead ball will reduce his home run total a little bit, but that's my only thing.
I would say my advice is to sacrifice some innings for a better ERA.
That's exactly it.
Sacrifice some strikeouts. I think I should have put this category as like strikeout per 9 or like K per 9.
Yeah, when you're drafting somebody after 400, they're not going to be necessarily a 160 inning pitcher.
Right. Robbie Ray is going 319 overall. And I will say this, Lenny has told me, and I mean, I'm a big Robbie Ray hater. Not that I hate him personally. I just hate him on my teams. He came up with a new pitch. His velocity is up. He's hitting like 97 miles an hour right now. So I'll give him a chance, right? I'll give him that chance. So we're talking about strikeouts late in drafts. I'm going to take Freddie Peralta. I don't know why he's not being drafted more often, but he's not going to hurt your ERA or whip, but he's not going to get 200 innings either. He is absolutely a stud for strikeouts. He will strike out. I try to get him on all my teams lately. I really hope he doesn't let me down. He pitches for Milwaukee, 347 overall in average draft position. And who else? Do we all go? Do we all do this?
I sort of didn't go.
Okay, go please.
I'm going to switch. I did talk about Trevor Rogers. He was one of my guys. I'll switch to the other guy in Miami and say Eliezer Hernandez still fits this category, though he is like drafted 230. He's a better pitcher than Rogers is, but he goes like 300 picks ahead. The other guy, and this is sort of a thing with me, it's like I can't really give up on Rich Hill. Rich Hill strikes out people. I've heard people say that the ball has higher seams, and it's going to be the year of the curveball.
That's right.
And there is nobody with a more devastating curveball than Rich Hill. There's a chance that this guy's unhittable. Admittedly, 70 innings, tops.
Okay, gotcha.
But 70 innings, maybe 100 strikeouts, and that's good stuff. And whenever he's played, he's pitched well. ERAs fit, whips fit, everything fits. It's just he doesn't stay healthy.
It's a great ballpark for him. It's a great ballpark, right? Miami.
Yeah, it sort of saved Nady Eovaldi, didn't it?
He's Tampa.
Oh, sorry.
Tampa still is a good pitcher's ballpark.
Wait, who are we talking about? I thought we were talking about Eliezer Hernandez.
No, I went over to Rich Hill.
Oh, Rich Hill.
With his curveball.
What's his ADP? It is insane right now. It's so late. He's like 40-something years old. But
matter of fact, I couldn't even draft him because I got too many players ahead of him. But he was on my list.
So you're the only one representing our website. You know that, Douglas. Or maybe there's somebody. Malpal, are you in TGFBI?
Did you see the ranks of the draft?
No, I didn't. I don't see shit. I can't even get in the damn thing anymore.
Well,
So
I came in third out of 435 according to winning the draft. Now I hate winning the draft. You've heard me say that over and over again, but I thought you might enjoy that. It says
I
Lenny
love it.
Melnick. It says Lenny Melnick only under 2 players with the draft.
I love it. I love it. Kevin won the whole thing last year, so
Yep, he did.
that's excellent. Let's okay, what was I going to say?
I think we're moving on.
Yeah, let's move on. To what category are we moving on? What category?
Saves?
Saves.
Late
Yeah.
round saves. Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Daniel Bard. I'm a fan of Daniel Bard. I'm probably biased because I'm a Red Sox fan. Daniel Bard used to be a Red Sox. I love it. I just love Daniel Bard. First of all, I never thought I'd see his name in a baseball box score ever again in my life because he's dealt with so many injuries. He's like an injury, just walking injury, but he has come back. He has fought his way back. He's a great story to root for, right? Daniel Bard, 309 overall ADP. He is the closer in Colorado. I don't care what anybody says. They think Scott Oberg is going to get the job. They're drafting Scott Oberg before Bard, and it makes no sense to me. So I'm just going to leave it at that and say Daniel Bard deserves to be the closer. He is the closer, and he's going 309.
Okay.
Mitchell.
I have Will Smith, Atlanta, 222. Is his
Okay.
ADP. I have Fairbanks, who's in a timeshare, but will get some saves. He's at 395 ODP.
Wait. Is he in a timeshare with Will Smith?
No, Fairbanks is with Nick Anderson.
He's got Nick Anderson, but he will have
8 or 10 saves.
It's a committee. He will get saves.
Okay.
I'm not going to say he's going to get a lot. Might be 15.
Okay.
Okay. That's mine.
Okay. Go ahead, Malpal.
Greg Hall in Kansas City. They're going to be a lot better this year. I don't see him having competition. I don't consider Wade Davis competition. So I think he's solid. I mean, he was terrible a couple years ago, but he seemed to straighten himself out last year, if I recall. And
Yes.
I'm going to go for a real long shot, but I am curious what you guys think about the Miami closer situation between Garcia and Bass. I think that's intriguing because I think Miami's better than I like them a lot this year. But I think there's a lot of saves to be had there. I'm going to go off the rails. This is a super long shot, and Andrew's going to maybe cut me off here.
No, you're not going to do
Alex Reyes is the best arm in that Cardinals bullpen by far. Now, he's not the closer now, but he is an arm worth taking late in the draft because I don't like that St. Louis bullpen right now. And he's the best guy he has the best arm out there. So that's a super long shot for saves. But he's gonna get you strikeouts along the way, even if he doesn't get saves.
Okay, let me just interject. Okay. First of all, you're right. I'm going to kick your ass because of saying that. But no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I actually think that you're right.
I tried to explain it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right in the way that you explained it for sure. They keep messing around with like where they're going to put him, but the Cardinals fans, they made it very clear to me that they are rooting for him to be a part of this team. They've been waiting for him for years. He seems like he's always hurt. Anyway, they said that they're not going to give him more than 100 innings, so that like wrecked his chances of being in the rotation. And then actually now they're saying that maybe they will give him a spot in the rotation. But you're right. I think he might be more of a setup guy, but that depends on how well Jordan isn't Jordan Hicks their closer?
They haven't settled on a closer yet.
No, notionally,
but he's only. Go ahead.
They'll probably give him the first shot, but I've always had a problem with his command.
Is he hurt?
That's just Mitch.
He's recovering from something.
Tommy John surgery. He's coming off Tommy John.
Okay, so there's that. That's they absolutely. Plus, they have Giovanni Gallegos. They have Andrew Miller. They have Ryan Helsley. They have so many. And Cody Whitley, he's also capable of closing. But Alex Reyes is going to play a part on this team.
I actually thought that thing about them saying he's going to pitch 100 innings as a reliever makes him very attractive because you got to keep an eye on these guys that'll that'll help your ERA and WHIP. And if he pitches 100 innings in relief, he could have 119, 122 strikeouts and good numbers across the board, and that's a lot. I actually saw that as a positive. I don't know if he's the closer, but I still like him for that other reason.
I wouldn't even be surprised.
Is 10% of your innings for the year, close to it.
Seriously, RotoWire has projected 76. Let's just say if he's healthy, they're going to give him 100. They want him to pitch. He's having an excellent spring. He is a good pitcher. He probably is. I mean, Malpel is right. He probably is the best on this in the bullpen of the Cardinals. And yes, I think it's something to watch. But I was surprised that you didn't bring up Drew Pomeranz, Malpel.
He's in my holds category, but
okay.
I can talk all day about the Padres situation, but I don't want to bore you. So.
Did everybody go on saves? Did everybody do saves?
I didn't go on saves.
Okay, go Douglas. I don't mean to forget you. Sorry.
That's all right. I talk a lot. Jose Leclerc's my guy. John Hernandez got hurt. He's got no competition. He's been a decent pitcher in his life. Everyone looks at 2 years ago when he signed that thing and he had that really high ERA. He had a really bad start of that year, lost the closer job, but pitched well after the second month and got it back. Finished the second half of that year. He had a 2.18 ERA. With 37 strikeouts in 20 innings, and there's no competition. He'll get the stuff there. That's the guy.
Jose Leclerc is the closer. We do know this, right? Jose Leclerc is the closer, but yes, and he's proven that he can save games, but it's a little shaky. He's had an ERA for the past 2 seasons. It's been over 4, which is horrendous.
Well, last year was 2 games.
True, and if you have even last year, if you pitched the whole season, if you had 1 bad outing or 2, it was going to wreck your ERA. So I'll give him a pass for that. But unfortunately, I feel like that's the norm for him. Either way, it is a good. Where's his ADP? Do you have that written down?
Yeah, I do. I just don't have that up.
It's late.
Here we go. It is 279.
Okay, 279. Who do you have, Mitch? Did we already talk to you about your closers? Saves?
Yeah, I mentioned Will Smith and Fairbanks.
Yes, you did. Okay, I like Fairbanks. I know that he's being talked about in a couple of different circles, so there's that.
I think Doug mentioned Anthony Bass. I also had.
I didn't bring him up. I was trying to shorten things. I did just.
No. I think but I think Bass will start as a closer in Miami, but Garcia will be in the mix.
I just drafted in a league, number 196. I drafted Will Smith.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. That's a little lower than the thing is going, but
I was going by NFBC. Every ADP you look at is different.
I'm just saying I like the guy. And it's a situation where I think I can pick up Chris Martin fairly cheap and have that locked up regardless.
That's not a bad thought.
Let's move to holds. I'm going to say that my favorite holds guy, and could be for saves too, if Rosenthal doesn't heal up, it's Jake Diekman. The other day I was looking for how to pronounce his name, and I ended up watching a bunch of replay of his. I just was watching a bunch of footage of him pitching, and he was excellent. I loved watching him pitch. So Jake Diekman is going to get holds, and he's in Oakland. And I think that if Rosenthal doesn't heal up right away, Rosenthal's a closer, but he's been dealing with a little bit of injury. I think that he could move into the closer role too. So Malpel, go ahead. Talk about Drew Pomeranz.
Pomeranz could close. I think he's definitely going to be used, obviously late innings. Padres got a good team. They're paying him a ton of money. They will wear him out. And he's the best arm in their bullpen by far. So I think I think he's a good grab, even if you're not in a holds league. He's going to put up good stats across the board, strike out a lot of guys.
And he could get saves because Melanson is not pitching that well right now, and he doesn't have a strong hold on the job in San Diego. Really,
the other guy I like is Josh Stamont from Kansas City. This guy's filthy. He's unhittable when he's got command. Like literally, he's unhittable. And he's their setup guy. He could close eventually. And like I said before, I think Kansas City's going to be better than last year.
Definitely. They're going to be they've been hitting so many home runs. It's unbelievable. Kansas City has been great this spring so far. It's like they're all hitting. Plus they have Carlos Santana, which I love. They've made a great addition to this team this offseason, for sure.
They did. They did.
Go ahead, Mitchell.
I had Blake Trinan of the Dodgers, 414 EDP. I also had John.
14. That's so late. My gosh. Go
Well,
ahead.
I'm just telling you, that's NFBC. I mean, like I
It's
said, you
true.
can go to different sources and find different ADP. But
It doesn't matter.
414
He's going late in all of them. He's going
And
late.
I didn't check Emmanuel Clays's ADP. I forgot to,
It
but
doesn't matter.
he is a terrific holds candidate. And my third one is Jonathan Hernandez, who is 419.
Okay, what about it? Where does Jonathan Hernandez put
Isn't that
pitch?
the guy that I said is injured?
He's Texas. I'm not really sure.
I think he's behind Leclerc.
Okay. So we're just rolling with the Texas team here, right?
Hernandez is hurt. That's the worry about that one.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that.
Hold on. I'll say one, too. I'll say another one. Brandon Workman. He might get saves, too, because Kimbrel is pitching like shit right now. Kimbrel is not pitching well at all. And even though they're paying him a decent amount of money, he might not be the closer if he can't be the closer. So it's maybe nice to get a guy that could move into the closer role. But if you're looking for holds, then when you have a league that has holds and saves, it brings in like a whole other realm of players. Like 100 pitchers probably get added to the player pool that are worthy of rostering. Douglas, I know you were going to say Tanner Rainey, right?
Tanner Rainey is the one. It's more on the eye test. He's the guy that looks like a great pitcher. I don't think he's gonna be the closer there. I think he's gonna be the setup guy. He's gonna pitch you 60+ innings, get you, a 12K per 9. He's got like a 22.5 swinging strike rate, and what is the other one?
Ground
trying to
ball.
look these stuff up. Yeah, he's just a good pitcher.
Yeah, I agree with.
I like the pitchers. One of the things I target in holds leagues, the one I'm drafting in right now, is I target guys that pitch 60 innings. I don't want the great guys that pitch 35. I want the great guys.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Guy I like a little better than Clase in Cleveland, by the way. I like Whitgren a lot in Cleveland. That guy pitches a ton of innings. He probably pitched 65, 70 innings like Douglas, kind of his.
Nick Whitgren. Guess where he's going overall? 588 overall. It's crazy. Nick Whitgren. Okay. Let's talk about innings pitched. Wait, did we already do that? Innings?
Quality starts.
Quality starts?
That's one of the categories you gave us.
Bring it. Do it. Let's talk about quality starts.
I had Michael Pineda, 226.
Love Michael Pineda. Love it. Great. Good one. That's the only one you have?
That's the only one I got.
Okay.
In this group below 220, I took a look at the stat because I don't really follow it that closely, but you're looking for 30 starts, the average of the guys below 225, you're looking at 10 or 11 quality starts.
That's true. Yeah.
In this group. Right. It's kind of like pulling a name out of a hat, I kind of like a guy like Wainwright.
I had Wainwright on my thing.
Yeah, we have Wainwright on the list for sure. He's part of the list of quality starters. Wainwright.
I kind of like Brady Singer this year.
Me
He's
too.
A shiny new object, but he's got high pedigree. #1 pick. He's been solid at every level, and he's showing up pretty good in the spring, I think.
Love it. He's having a great spring. Let me cut you off real quick because we'll talk about Brady Singer real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, don't mean to be rude.
Go.
But I do have him on my list because I think that I noticed him when I saw that, I'm trying to find my notes there. I just put him down. I didn't even know what category to put him in. I just thought he's a great late round target. Last season, his ERA was 4.06. He really just is having a great spring right now too. He's pitched 7 innings. He struck out 11. He's only walked 3. I do think that this guy, I put him up to your test, Malpal. Malpal's test that he gave us all last week, which I've been using, I really like it, is to add up the ground ball percentage and the strikeout percentage. Okay, so his strikeout percentage is 23.2%, and his ground ball percentage right now is 42.7%. But they definitely said that he's probably going to have a better ground ball percentage than that. He's right about 70%. So if those two things add up to 70%, you're looking at a potentially good pitcher, right, Malpal? Did I get it right?
That's correct.
He pitched 64 innings last year in the majors. He's a Kansas City guy, and we do love Kansas City this year, much better than we have in the recent seasons. He never pitched at AAA, but like I said, he pitched 64 innings in the majors last year. Obviously, we didn't have a minor league, so they probably just skipped him over that because of the situation, but he pitched well in the minors too when he was there. I mean, this guy was not even drafted that long ago. He was actually drafted in the first round, like 2018. So he's very young. He's 23. I think Brady Singer's decent. One other thing, he threw 148 innings in the minors in 2019. So we do know that he's capable of throwing some innings. It's not going to be like, we're going to put him on a 100 inning limit and stuff like that. I do think he's going to get like 150 innings. RotoWire has him projected for 157 innings. Another great thing about him is that he doesn't allow that many hits. His hits are always less than his innings pitched, which I love. And 157 innings and 141 strikeouts, so he could fit into, anyway, he's going, what's his ADP right now? I don't know if I got so excited about it.
I got 245.
245, it is. I love it. Brady Singer, good one. Good one, Malpal. I like Aaron Savale too, even though he's going a little bit too early for this.
Yeah, he's the guy that pitches deep.
Exactly. Any Cleveland pitcher is going to pitch deep, except for Tristan McKenzie. I'm not a true believer in, because he's going way too early for his experience level. But absolutely, Savale fits here because quality starts require 6 innings, right?
Yeah,
we got to change this. I mean, quality start is that, I don't know. The norm.
It's almost not a category. It's almost not a legitimate.
They should drop it to 4.5 innings during the 7-inning games.
Yeah, and drop the runs allowed too. You can't let 4 runs allowed and still have a quality start. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Anyway,
it had to be 6 innings and 3 runs.
Yeah, you can't have more
3
than
runs. Okay, but that's like, if you think about it, what is that ERA? If you gave up 3 runs and 6,
4.5 ERA.
Your ERA sucks.
It was the exact ERA that you criticized Jose Leclerc for.
Exactly. So, but Jose Leclerc is not a starter, though. There's a big difference. He should not be having an ERA that high.
Well, the ERAs fluctuate a lot, especially when you have a small amount of innings. You could have a great, every closer, every reliever is going to have a bad outing, and if he only has 9 outings and 1 awful one, he'll have a much worse ERA. I don't worry about ERA as much on on closers, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, okay, we're going to talk about quality starts.
I had Wainwright on my list as number 1. I think he's clearly the number 1 guy in this bunch. Mm-hmm. I think that he's figured something out. I think every time he pitches a 7-inning game, he's thinking complete game. The other guy I have on here is Mike Minor. He's 2 years. He's 2 years removed from 209 innings pitched. Had an awful last year, but he's moving to Kansas City. Kauffman Stadium matches well with what they do, and that's part of the reason why they signed him. He probably won't let up as many home runs, and if they're deadening the ball. But he's a guy that is 2 years removed from 209 innings pitched, 220 strikeouts. He's going to pick 300. He's actually every league I've been in been picked higher than I could get him, and I was willing to pick him before 300.
I love Kansas City. Kansas City is going to be great this year. That's for sure. Go ahead.
And Minor's throwing the ball 2 miles an hour faster so far this year.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Mitchell, did we already talk to you about quality starts?
Yeah, I mentioned Pineda.
And Malpal, you went too.
I did go.
Okay.
I had Singer.
Justice Sheffield is another one that could get some quality starts. RotoWire has him on here for 15 quality starts. He's right up there with the rest of these guys. I like Justice Sheffield. He's not having a great spring, so don't have your expectations too high, but he is going late in drafts, so that's for sure. Let's move on to the next category.
Before you do that, what do you think about Kikuchi?
I like him. I do. I like Kikuchi.
I'm hearing good things about him.
He is going to travel up the ADP. Like where he's going right now, I know let me look him up real quick. Kikuchi. They say that his numbers are better than what they perceive that what we're seeing on this overall stats. 310. Okay, 310 is his ADP. Get it while it's hot. Absolutely. I also like TJ Antone. He's also being like blared across the radio waves.
He got hurt too.
TJ, why is he? Why is it hurt?
Yeah, I think it's minor, but Doug is right. Something happened, but he's
He is hurt.
the people that are Reds fans are raving about this guy.
Mild groin injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he pitched yesterday or today. But
he's expected to make his next start, but there is an injury problem here, for a little bit of one. His ADP is 381 right now, but I guarantee if you do not draft in the next week or so, you need to like be paying attention, because you don't want to draft this guy in like round 8. Okay, you don't want to like take him way too early. Also, Sonny Gray is hurt. I meant to do the news at the beginning of the show, but Sonny Gray is also hurt, which I believe he's going to miss some time at the beginning of the season. That's not good. And Strasburg. What the fuck? I have Strasburg on the same team as Sonny Gray on one of my teams. I have both of those fools.
Have you heard anything more on Strasburg? Everything I heard on Strasburg was relatively, it was like precautionary. Like it feels good there. You
have to be a masochist to get that guy. He's walking accident waiting to happen. It's always something. They just gave him they gave him $150 million for 7 years, and he threw one inning last year.
In defense of Strasburg.
I thought Strasburg's contract was actually pretty good for a pitcher from the team standpoint. You know,
don't draft Sonny Gray right now.
Not if he's hurt all the time.
Strasburg does have an injury problem. That's because they brought him up like he was like a China. I don't know.
He is also like 2 years ago he pitched 200 innings. And I think that the innings before that he got like 160, whatever. Yeah, he gets hurt a little bit, but I think his injury stuff is overblown. Now he did have carpal tunnel last year.
Yes.
And they're taking it with kid gloves this year, no doubt.
But now he's hurt his calf or something. So
yeah, he tripped. He almost fell down. It was a freak. But I mean, that's not his fault. I'm not blaming him for that.
I hear you, dude.
If you got carpal tunnel, how many curveballs he's going to throw before his wrist is going to start bothering him again?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
We don't really know the answer to that.
We don't. That's what worries me, Doug.
I believe that he's good. Well, I thought at the time that he was good. It really, you have to decide for yourself at what point.
I like him because of the guys that could be number one pitchers, and I'm not saying he's definitely number one. He's like going in the 4th or 5th round, which is a pretty good value there.
I'll tell you what, in 2019, he was as good as any pitcher in baseball.
You're eating this injury risk, but you're not drafting somebody in the 4th or 5th round that could be as good as Jake DeGrom if everything fell.
That's a true statement. That is a true statement.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I own Strasburg in every league I'm in.
Tony Gonsolin, you guys, I know Tony Gonsolin just got. I don't know what the Dodgers are doing. I really wish they wouldn't do this to their young
They're messing around.
pitchers, because Gonsolin and May are both very good pitchers, and they are being screwed with because they got David Price now back. They have, I mean, do I even really need to go into who they have? They have people like Kershaw, Bauer, all these guys. Gonsolin, I hope he gets traded for his sake, but I do think that, look, he's going 259 overall. Gonsolin. He will get strikeouts. He will get holds. He will get whatever they give him. He will get into action. What do you guys think of Tony Gonsolin?
I like him, and Dustin May's going to be great. You're going to hear Dustin May's name a lot in the next 2 years.
He and Julio Urias too. He's going into the bullpen. They don't have any other place for him.
Urias is going to the bullpen? Really?
I don't know. Where else is he going to pitch?
I think that the Dodgers thing was that if you're a young pitcher in LA, they just screw with you, right?
It's horrible.
Right. And Julio Urias was screwed with 3 years ago and screwed with 2 years ago. So he's paid his dues. I assumed he had that roster spot. He's the 5th guy, or really he's the 3rd guy.
How good was he as a relief? How good was Urias?
He was very good as a relief pitcher.
In the World Series, he was untouchable.
Exactly. And that's the same thing that's true of a lot of these guys.
Yeah, the thing about Urias, he had a shoulder injury that almost ended his career. He didn't pitch for nearly a year and a half. So they babied him back for a reason. He had a terrible shoulder injury.
It's just horrible. I'm sorry. I don't think it's right what they're doing to these kids. If you don't have room for them, then trade them.
The problem is that they keep signing players. Last year they went and they traded for David Price. This year they went and they signed Trevor Bauer, and that's what they're going to be doing. And you're going to have these guys moving down the list because there's guys in front of them.
That's wrong, though. Don't you think that hinders their growth? Don't you think that's horrible for them?
Yeah.
The Dodgers don't care
I
about
think
growth, they care
freaked
about
out
winning.
when
That's the thing. You know, they want to win
And-
now.
but they freaked out when the Padres got both Darvish and Snell. I think they freaked out.
How did they freak out? Why do they have a right to freak
San
out?
Diego made a quantum
Yeah, it's just the battle.
in their rotation, a quantum jump forward.
Good for them.
And they did need the pitchers, unlike the Dodgers. They did need a couple of more top-tier starters. And right now, I'll tell you what, if San Diego comes up against the Dodgers in a postseason 5-game playoff, I almost think I like San Diego to win. Because Blake Snell can own the Dodgers. We know that.
Is he? Oh, he does. I didn't even know that. I didn't know Blake Snell against the Dodgers is great.
Well,
But
in the World Series, they should have left him in the game in the World Series.
Oh, you don't know that.
Well, it was a terrible call. They
I know,
weren't
it's-
the guy.
People feel that way, but he could have very well come in and walked the first 3 batters the next inning. He didn't have the history of pitching well beyond the 6th inning, you know. But so I just hear people question these things. It's like the guy made the right call. It's a tough call, but he made the right call.
Well, how about putting Greinke out with the Washington Nationals when Greinke was unhittable?
Greinke's also a guy that's had trouble going deep.
what do you think about Greinke this year, you guys? Greinke is 40. 40. I think he's. Hold on, maybe he's more than 40.
I like Greinke. I do. I think he's a good pitcher where he's going in drafts. He's a pretty good value. People this year are worried about innings. It's not gonna be the stellar stuff, but he's gonna pitch a lot of innings. With that, he's gonna get a lot of strikeouts. Probably gonna get a fair number of wins. In an ERA, worst case scenario like 4.10, but probably like 3.85 or 3.70.
He reminds me of Greg Maddux. When he lost to velocity, he re-engineered his approach and did a marvelous job with it.
He's great.
He lost 3 miles per hour, I think, in velocity.
Dude, his arm has 3,000 innings on it. It's unbelievable. Like, he's been pitching 200 innings every year for the last 13 or so years, 14 years. I'm just like, I love him. I think he's a great pitcher, but I'm concerned about drafting him again because it's great until it isn't, And
No, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
But he is going at a nice place in drafts because everybody feels the same way we do,
I think that this year, unlike a lot of years, I'm avoiding the young guys and buying the old guys because, like in that TFBI draft, I drafted Shohei Ohtani and not another pitcher under the age of 32. And I got, Price and Kluber and Greinke and Strasburg. Ohtani is young. That was the only one that I drafted who was young.
What the hell is Ohtani going to do for you?
He's going to, on occasion, I drafted him in the reserve round. He's going to, he is one thing is he's a fill-in DH, and when he pitches, he's going to give me one good start.
Can you move him around every day?
No, once a week. Well, technically it's NFC, so with the NFC, you can change your lineup on Friday for hitters, not for pitchers.
Right.
So if Ohtani pitches on Tuesday, on Friday, I got the utility, but I can't go the other way.
Good idea. Okay, that's true.
But the truth is, he's got electric stuff, and he's an extra hitter. But he'll give you one good inning a week. But that's like literally. I mean, I guess that we'll talk about the other guy there, but these other guys are all like they're going to pitch 160 innings. So these are going to pitch 160 innings, and they're going to be decent innings, and that's going to be great for my bullpen. The last guy I picked is the guy that will fit your next category.
Who's going to pitch 160 innings? Ohtani?
No, Greinke. Price if he starts, Strasburg if he's healthy.
I knew you were a fan of Price. I know you're a fan of Price. I do too. I like him where he's going in drafts for sure.
Who's the other guy? Oh, I picked Hyunwon Kim.
I know nothing.
He's my youngest pitcher besides Ohtani.
St. Louis.
How many Kims though? We have like 3 new Asian Kims in baseball.
He's the one that pitched last year for the Cardinals.
Okay.
And he moved between things, but he's also a guy that he pitched 7 years in the Korean leagues, so he's not a kid. He could pitch innings.
I do not trust Korean pitchers, Japanese pitchers. I do not trust
Korean
them.
pitchers have done well.
What about Ryu?
He
was the only one. He's the only one. Like Dice K was a wreck. Chen
Japanese doesn't get much better.
Darvish. Okay, you're right. I'll give you.
Japanese is like Koji Uehara was Japanese. I'm not Japanese. Korean. Korea's different.
I know, and we're very ignorant.
Merrill Kelly is Korea, believe it or not.
Merrill Kelly?
He went to Korea and came back. Josh Lindblom's Korea. I'm trying to think of real Koreans, but
Lindblom is Korean too? I didn't even know.
No, he pitched
in Korea, but he pitched in Korean.
He was a best. I think he won a Korean pitching award. He was so good.
Yeah, he won a Cy Young one year, or whatever their equivalent is.
He's interesting pitcher this year too, Josh Lindblom. He now that if TJ Antone is out or hurt or whatever, I mean, him and Lorenzen are going to be. I think Lindblom is like actually etched in as the number 3 starter in Cincinnati, right? Or
Lindblom is Milwaukee.
He's etched into the rotation, right?
Yes.
Okay. He came back, but he didn't have a great year last year. And I think that I just saw his stats. He's having an interesting spring. I noticed his spring stats. Let me look at him again real quick. See what he's doing. I like the Milwaukee pitching. I really do. I think they have lots of secrets there for pitchers. But I'm not going to draft Lindblom, dude. No matter what he's doing, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's a guy that I might pick up during the season on a match by match basis here and there.
He has 10 strikeouts, okay, and 2 walks. That's what he's doing so far this spring. 10 strikeouts.
He's not horrible.
In 6 innings. Is he not horrible? Where's he going?
I said he is not horrible. He's a decent pitcher. But I mean, the thing I had him last year, and he did not have a great year. I was
disappointed with his year too. Usually the guys come over.
It was bad.
Usually the Asian guys come over and they have like a little honeymoon period where people don't get them. And he
5.16 ERA last year.
Yeah, it was.
But I do remember last year we were excited about having him come back because he did excellent. Didn't he do really good?
Really,
he did. He did. Yeah,
and he came up with a new pitch or something.
It's different. It's still a little different baseball.
Yeah,
Andrew, I'm going to throw out a name and then we can talk about it next week.
The more names, the better. Okay, the more names, the better.
My favorite pitcher this year, kind of in the mid-level, is without question, and I like Franklin Barreto too, so I always throw that asterisk in there, is Lance McCullers. Do your homework using that formula on McCullers, and you'll be shocked.
When I was
stay healthy, dude.
When I was thinking about Rich Hill with the curveball, the only guy that came into my mind as a curveball that's as good as Hill's is Lance McCullers.
Let's look at his ground ball plus his strikeout percentage. Let's do it right now. Let's look at it. We have 24.7 for strikeout percentage. And for ground ball percentage, I have to make this bigger. 59% ground balls. Holy shit. Is that that was last year, but holy shit. He might have the highest ground ball percentage in baseball, right?
It's up there.
59.7%. And that's not that crazy for him. He had 61% at one point, 54%, 57. It's always over 50, that's really high for ground ball. Fine, you like him. I mean, the fact that he hasn't been able to stay healthy for 200 innings is not as much of a hindrance this year as it normally would be because nobody is going to pitch that many innings.
Right, exactly right. That's exactly right. He's going to be kind of par with the rest of the league.
What do you think you're expecting out of him? Is he going to have right now at spring training, he has 11 strikeouts. We already know Houston has great pitching, so we'll give him that. He's pitched 7 innings this spring, 11 strikeouts, 5 hits, and 2 earned runs. But do you think he'll have an ERA under 2 or under 3? Under 4, maybe?
Under 4. Career under 4, I believe. He's a free agent too. That's why he's in his free agent year.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a good year last year. He had one terrible start, I remember, it was against Arizona, where he gave up 8 runs after no one on and 2 outs in the 4th inning, and they refused to take him out. And they just got obliterated. He had one bad game the whole year.
They had him going deep into games, too. They had him pitching 6 innings, 7 innings, 5 innings. So that's a good thing to notice too. And yes, he did have one crappy game where he got shelled. And the rest of the time, he was like an ace on FanDuel. He was making 50 points, 45 points on FanDuel. He was raking in the DFS points. So,
Can I ask a question?
Here's
Can
Ted.
you folks rank Christian Javier and Urquidy for me? Which one would you take
Urquidy?
first?
That's a good one.
I'm taking Urquidy over
I'm
Javier.
taking Urquidy too because
He has experience.
well, it's the makeup of the way they pitch. I mean, Javier's a little more of a less of a strikeout pitcher, and so things can go south quickly on those guys.
Because Javier is a fly ball machine. Lots of home runs. That's his downfall. But
Okay.
I have him in a couple leagues cheap.
Let's see. Let's do the test on him. Let's check it out. He's got ground ball rate of 29%. That's horrible. He just said he's a fly ball guy, and then he better have he only has a 25% strikeout rate. Now let's look at Urquidy.
Oh man, that's a bad ground ball rate. Oh,
Urquidy had a great year last year. He had a 2.73 ERA, but nobody thinks he's going to do that again. His FIP was actually 470, so that is no way that he's going to continue. His strikeout percentage is only 13.8%, and his ground ball is 32%. So Urquidy has a lot to be desired. In the
more similar than I would have thought.
I would take Urquidy just because of his experience. That's the only reason I would take him over.
It's a Hobson's choice. The consensus is not to take either of them.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, there's so many. You can rationalize so many players this year that they're just things that
I like.
You just make a point. I'm just going to avoid that. You know?
Taijuan Walker is a good target late. I like Taijuan Walker. I just think I like his work ethic more than anything. I haven't really crunched his numbers that well, but he did good last year when he came back from a ton of injuries too. He worked his way back. I always really think that shows mound presence. It just shows grit, like it shows resilience when and that reminds me of Jamison Taillon, who I think is having an excellent spring and should not be overdrafted, even if you think that he's a wonderful comeback story. It's still very sketchy to be drafting Jamison Taillon where he's going. And why is Kluber going so high? Kluber.
I'm big on Kluber, and this is the reason. Like I was big on him last year, but he got hurt. And if he's not hurt, it's the same thing I said about Strasburg. There is a chance that he could be a top 5 pitcher. It might only be a 10% chance, but if you go to the betting lines on who's going to win the Cy Young Award, it's like Kluber is like the 7th favorite to win the Cy Young because he's got that kind of stuff. He's got great pitches and all those other things. He just hasn't pitched in a couple of years.
Yeah.
He was kind of run out of Cleveland because he was injured and his contract was coming up. I really was looking forward to it. The one thing about Kluber you got to realize when you draft him is that he's always a slow starter. And I was hoping that playing in Texas where it was warm, he wouldn't be a slow starter. Instead, we got him injured. But I mean, Kluber's going at around that 135, 150 area. And I think that in that position, there is greater upside with him than 95% of the people that are coming hereafter.
Well, I have him going in drafts before Mike Soroka, who is obviously coming back from injury, but Mike Soroka, and Kluber is being drafted like right after Marco Gonzalez. And I say, you are crazy to draft Kluber over Gonzalez. You're crazy.
There's this there are these guys that are good that are vanilla, and I didn't, like you guys like Kyle Seager. I like me. Kyle Seager is like the Denny's of third baseman, and Marco Gonzalez is like the Denny's of third baseman. It's like I don't want him. I wind up there, right? And I would when you're drafting to try to build value by drafting people at a position where they produce at a position higher than that. Marco Gonzalez is actually going like pick 110 or something.
No. Since February 1st, I have this for all drafts though. 170.
And like the truth is, if you were to put together his best season possible, he's probably should it be like a 140, maybe a 130?
Look, Marco Gonzalez is going to get you solid innings, dude, which is what you're looking for right now. I would much rather have a pitcher in Seattle who's not going to get as many wins than a pitcher in Yankee Stadium that hasn't pitched for 2 years. That's just my opinion, and I do agree. I mean, Kluber's won the Cy Young twice, so
there is a whatever percent chance, a little percent chance that we're sitting here at the end of the year with Kluber with a 2.65 ERA and 185 strikeouts being the toast of the town. There's a chance of that. There is a 0% chance that Marco Gonzalez does that.
Dallas Keuchel or Kluber?
Kluber.
Mitchell?
Kluber.
Malpal?
I go for greatness. I'm going for Kluber.
I'm taking Keuchel every day of the year, even though he doesn't strike me any better. You guys know I'm a fan of Keuchel. I think he'll get innings. I mean,
I don't dislike Keuchel, but those are the kind of pitchers where the guys that don't.
He won Cy Young too.
Yeah, no, he did. The guys that don't strike up. There's a the guy that I always think of is Kyle Hendricks.
So did Porcello.
Yeah, Porcello was horrible. He didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that, but he had a good year.
Do you remember when Kate Upton did?
He had a good year. Yeah,
Yes,
but
I love her.
this is the thing. It's like watching Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks was a great pitcher last year, great pitcher the year before that. He had 1 year or 2 years before that where he wasn't so good. Because when you're a guy that like doesn't strike people out and has to pitch at the corners, a small variance can make you go from good to bad. And that's why I would take somebody like Kluber. What's the worst happens with Kluber? It's like, all right, the best that happens is he comes out and he's firing like he's been firing in spring training.
You want to know the worst?
The worst is you bench him or you cut him. Yeah, that's the thing. And to me, benching or cutting him is no big deal. You know what I mean? It's much. I would much rather do that and take a chance on somebody else than have somebody give me a 4.34 ERA and a lot of innings.
Okay, you know? Zach Plesac or Max Fried? They're both going right at pick 75.
Fried. I don't think that's close.
Really, I would probably take.
Yeah, I'm leaning Plesac by a little bit because I believe. Yeah, I believe it'll pitch more innings.
The deeper the innings. Okay, how about this? I've changed my mind on a couple players, but I really love Jose Berrios because I've watched him a little bit. I mean, I've been watching him for a couple years. We've all been waiting for Berrios to do his thing. This year is the year, I think. I'm watching him this spring, and he just looks like a madman, dude. He just looks so good. He's going 85th overall. He's going right. Would you rather have Jose Berrios or Kyle Hendricks? He's going next door. They're both going. Who?
I would probably pick Berrios there because of the upside. You know,
yes.
I would say that there's 60% chance that Hendricks has a better year, but the better year Berrios has could be a lot better than Hendricks.
He looks great. 97 miles an hour for his pitching this year. Dude,
is Carrasco going to be able to pitch?
Don't even talk about him. He's hurt again, okay? Me and Malpal both have him on our teams. We've already had this discussion.
To go to your Berrios and Hendricks comparison,
it's tough.
I think that is solely dependent on the rest of your staff when it comes time to pick one of those guys. If I had some good strikeout guys already, a couple of them, I take Hendricks because I think he's solid. If I need strikeouts, I would take Berrios.
Mitchell, Berrios or Hendricks?
Probably Berrios because of the reasons that everybody's saying. The upside of Berrios is so great.
Malpal, Jesus Luzardo is being drafted 103 ADP. Last year, you were a big fan of Luzardo. You're not a fan anymore? You don't have him on any of your teams?
I'm trying to get Luzardo in one league, but it ain't happening.
I have a hard time.
It's all about his health, really. I mean, he's got history of problems, but I think the guy's really good.
Do you like Luzardo better than Minaya and Montas? That's a hard time, like really differentiating one from the other.
Luzardo, lefty.
I think Luzardo's the best pitcher, potential-wise. I'd probably take Luzardo out of the three. I'd go Luzardo, Montas, Minaya.
Where's Montas? Montas is another one.
I'd have my Minaya last 2 out of 3.
Really?
But I think I would put Montas first. Montas, they're all pretty close.
Yeah, they're close.
All right, so you guys, it's we've gone over by an hour almost, and I think we did a great job getting through all the categories. Did we finish?
Nobody said anything about
pitched.
What?
Real innings pitched.
Please do.
yeah, but wait a minute. Nobody said anything about Chris Bassett.
I love it.
Don't draft Bassett.
I like
Like
it.
that.
Last year was a fluke, and
No, it wasn't.
everything shows it was a fluke.
Everything is lying to you.
All the backing numbers. He's been he's.
Do you
he's
expect
draft him?
Do you expect the ADP on Oda Rizzi to creep up now that he signed with Houston?
I actually have.
But he's hurt, so you're lucky he's not creeping up.
I had a question about this Oda Rizzi thing because in the league that I was in, it was slow drafting. The minute he got signed, he got picked, right? And I know that with Houston, we decide that there are cheaters, or whatever, right? But part of the 2017 Astros luster was they fix pitchers.
Absolutely.
They make pitchers awesome. Charlie Morton, Garrett Cole, Verlander. There's a chance that Oda Rizzi might be fixed.
For sure, he's going to pitch better because anybody that goes to pitch in Houston is better. And that's all there is to it. There isn't one pitcher that goes to Houston and pitches worse.
Well, Greinke's sort of been the same. He's the one sort of other.
Verlander was the same, too, because Verlander and Greinke were already aces. But I'm talking about didn't Keuchel go there, too? I mean, I'm just saying.
Keuchel started there.
Everybody's good in Houston. And Oda Rizzi is going to be, if he's healthy, the thing that's holding him back right now is his health. So
well, isn't it just like game shape? It's not like a particular thing.
Yes, they said that he can't be ready in time for opening day. That's bullshit. I would say get your fucking ass ready, or I'm not paying you, bitch. What the fuck am I paying you for? To sit out of games? They only
yes.
Andrea, my laptop's on low, so if I disappear, it's because it quit on me.
Okay, if you wanted, didn't you say you wanted to bring up a couple players? Oh, Douglas, somebody.
I just want to bring up a guy that I always draft, I always love is Johnny Cueto. He's going to pitch the innings. They're going to leave him in. They left him in last year, and he has been showing a higher velocity by 2 miles per hour so far in spring training.
Really?
Everyone talks about the other guys, but this is a guy that it's been a couple years, but 3 years ago he was an ace. You know?
Has he ever pitched the innings though? He's your pick for innings?
Yeah, he's gonna pitch. Last year they let him pitch no matter what happened. Right, and that's the thing. Like they're gonna let that guy pitch no matter what goes on. He could have a 9 ERA. He's gonna pitch.
It's a great ballpark.
It's a good ballpark, but the truth is, I think that he could have a 4-ish ERA and pitch a lot of innings, and that's why I think the only thing keep him out is getting injured. But there is nobody that's going to keep him out of the rotation.
Yeah,
George is here, you know.
Yeah, my pick for innings was Matthew Boyd.
Okay.
Boyd that was my pick too, and that's a bad thing because it's just more opportunity for the long ball.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't say they were going to be good innings, Mel Pell.
They don't have to be good; they just have to be innings.
Right.
How about a guy like Ryan Yarborough? Seems like he pitches every game.
I like he's getting better too. He's getting better for some reason.
He had a great year one time when he got like 11 or 12.
Well, that was the relief pitching year. Yeah, he had like 18 wins in relief.
Yes, or like 14 wins, whatever it was. Is he the opener?
No, he's number 2 in rotation.
He pitches those middle innings, doesn't he?
He's also like the first guy they go to when they need a starter, like an extra starter.
That's right.
He pitches, and in those outings, he's pitched pretty well.
He has. I agree.
More good than bad, and I kind of like the guy.
His ERA is under 4, constantly under 4. Okay.
But his ceiling will be 150, and that's why I didn't mention him under innings.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not going to throw over 150 innings.
Okay.
He won't throw over 150, but he still will get wins. Maybe we should.
No, he's good. I like him, but I'm just saying.
16 wins he had that year. 16 wins he had.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It was some huge
crazy
number.
Dude, crazy. Okay.
He had
100. Zach Davies for innings pitched.
That's right.
That's not a bad thought, Mal.
He's a scary one though, dude. Mal Pal.
He's cut from that mold of like a little bit off, and things could be ugly there. He's had one great year.
2.73 good. 2.73 ERA good.
60 innings. One
so
time.
What do you think about his? Does he pass the Malpal test? What's the Malpal test? It's the ground ball plus strikeout rate. It's 22 plus 41. It's close.
Did he pass it any other year besides last year?
No, because he doesn't get enough ground balls. He needs more ground balls.
Yeah, being a fly ball pitcher,
His
Can't hurt
strikeout.
Wrigley Field.
See, when you end up with about a 60 combined, you end up with, it kind of shows these guys are just erratic, not reliable. They're 4.5 type ERA pitchers. All these guys are 55 to 60 of those ground ball strikeout ratios.
So what is average? What do you think is league average? You've been doing this for a while.
I think it's about slightly below 65 makes you a decent. You have a shot. The reason I use that is because for a guy like Davies, he had a good year last year, right? But it stops, if you apply this, it stops you from being fooled by a good year because he's going to revert back. The chances are he's going to revert back to his historical norm. But that doesn't mean he's not going to have a good year. It's just you're playing the odds.
Okay, one more question, really quick. The Cubbies, it's Douglas's favorite team, so let me bring up another pitcher on the Cubbies that actually does pass your test, dude. Adbert Alzolay. He does, I think, pass your test. He has, no, maybe not, 43% ground ball and 33% strikeout last year.
Last week, Mitch asked me about him, and I told him that my gut says he's going to be a relief pitcher. But but he pitches well enough that if things go right, he could stay in the bullpen. He could stay in he could make rotation. Right now,
who's he going to be beat out by? Trevor Williams? Because
he's going to be beat out by a arbitration ruling. That was I was going to put up a
arbitration.
There's a chance that they're waiting on a ruling that Alberto Alzolay has a fourth option coming, and he's going to be optioned to start the year if he doesn't beat the guy out.
Oh, I see.
He's one of those guys that got caught up in the last year problem, and he shouldn't be able to be optioned, but he might be able to be optioned, and that would change.
If you can be optioned, you will be optioned.
For sure, that's true. That's in my opinion.
And the problem was there's two things in the rule. Like in the rule on options, there's a minimum number of games that must be played this season, which last year was less than. And the other one is that you also have to play 20 years in the minors in order to eat the option, which nobody did. And so there's a question as to whether last year moving somebody to the secondary games counts toward the options or not. And it depends on what the arbitrators say. And we don't know. And this affects about 40 players.
Really? I did not know that was going on. That is very interesting, dude. Say it again. Say what's going on. They haven't.
If you would have eaten up your last option in 2020, they forgot when they made an agreement. They forgot to talk about this one thing, so they're going to arbitration to decide whether last year getting sent to the other side counts as eating up your option. If the answer is no, there's going to be a whole lot of people with a fourth option. The reason why they have those rules in place about a certain number of games and certain number of plays is because the rule is set up so that if you're injured, if you're injured out for the season, you don't get an option up. The team doesn't lose an option, right? That's why they have these minimums. The question is whether last year falls under that. And I wish I could have a complete list. Whenever I bring this up, and I brought this up to other people besides you, they look at me like I'm insane. I go, no, this really happens. I could actually, there's a story in the Sun-Times today about Alzolay. The only thing keeping him out of the thing is the fact that he might have a fourth option.
It actually says that in his profile on RotoWire. It absolutely says that they are talking about, they still haven't I cannot believe that baseball is this behind, that they have not figured out whether or not to use an option for players that got sent down or sent to the alternate training site. That makes no sense to me.
Well, I mean, the truth is, it's shocking that they didn't think of it when they made their agreement last year. That's the shocking part.
I mean, it's the number of games. So usually the playing time for the service clock to start is a big deal. And for them to forget about the options thing, it makes no sense because the ownership is adamant about players not starting their service clock. Okay, so they will keep these players down. Everybody knows it happens. For them to not think about how many options these players has, to me, I would say if you send them down, if you send them away, that's an option.
Well, then the like when they moved like real players that played 6 years in the league, when they moved them over to that thing, when Todd Frazier's moved over, should they have been granted free agency? Because they would have if they had been sent to the minors. There's like a different rule for this thing because it's really not the minor leagues.
It's an alternative. They're not calling it the minors either now. Right now, they're calling it alternative training site.
Exactly.
Why are they doing that?
Well, because the minor leagues doesn't start for 30 days into the season.
Is there even a such thing? There's an alternate training site right now. Why do they have that? The minor league baseball starts spring training the day that MLB starts the season. So
No, all of the minor leagues are going to start on May 4th. It was originally the AAA was going to start with the season, but they pushed it back because they wanted to see that there was no conflict between the service time thing. Like they wanted to give them no place to send them.
What?
That's true. So they moved back AAA to March 4th, May 4th.
Okay.
The other thing.
Did they say that's the reason why they did it?
Literally, the Rob Manfred said that it was it's to show that they're not giving them the option. Basically, if Jared Klenick doesn't go start with the Seattle Mariners, their choice is have him do nothing for a month or stay with the minors and even go and be in the alternate site. But it's a confused situation where we don't know what these words legally mean.
Right.
I don't know them. All I know is that there is a question. You know,
MLB just continues to show how much they don't care about their players. Okay.
They don't care about their players. I give them a little bit of a break last year because last year was a weird.
They had to because MLB players started saying they were going to pay, these minor league players salaries because they were greedy. So the players start saying they're going to pay the minor league player salary. Then the ownership has to step up at that point. They were totally forced into paying their minor leaguers. And it's just disgusting the way that they treat their minor league systems. It's bad. Anyway, Malpal, you have an opinion on this? I bet you do.
I guess I had a question along the service time issue, though, if I could kind of tie it into this. Does it really matter? I mean, these teams that are worried about a guy leaving after 6 years, or what is it, 6 years?
It matters to them, yes.
But if it's a good player, that player on year 6 of arbitration is going to be pulling in more money through an arbitration agreement than what these teams are willing to pay anyway. So they're just trading these guys anyways. Like if the Padres didn't want to, they're worried about money, for example, I'm just using that as an example, and they were worried about Tatis in year 6 leaving as a free agent in year 7, and he's pulling down $25 million in year 6 of arbitration. They're going to say $25 million is too much. We're going to trade him in year 5 anyways. So why not just get the best years out of this guy and then hope you win something in the 5 or 6 years instead of worrying about 6 years, because they're not going to afford them anyways if they're worried about it.
I agree with you. The arbitration starts going up, but it's an extra year before arbitration starts. So
yeah, that's why it's worth the money for the owners. It's like these guys.
Yeah, but what's the difference between year 5 and 6 of arbitration? Well, it's not significant.
Chris Bryant, won the MVP between his 2nd and 3rd year of arbitration, and they gave him the highest thing at the time, though somebody I think beat him the same year, of like $11 million, which doesn't seem like an awful lot of money. I mean, we were paying Anthony Rizzo $12 million that year, and it's just like that's what a guy like that's worth. It's not a.
I don't argue. But look at the Cubs now. They went through this whole thing, and now they're not. Now they're kind of in a rebuild. They're paying Bryant $22 million a year, and they can't trade him.
Well, I think they could, but I understand
not
what you're saying.
Not for anything,
Good, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I think
there is a general. That's the one thing that's about it. Like we complain that the owners didn't look at this one thing when they decided the agreement last year. But the truth is, this should have been on top of the MLB Player Association's lips too, because their biggest concern is this getting through arbitration and getting free.
And getting paid. Yes, absolutely. They're supposed to be sticking up for the players.
I'm with the players.
We don't even know, dude, if this guy has any options left or not. We don't even know, right?
Yeah, the answer is we do not know. And the truth is, we may not know in 17 days.
It's bullshit, okay?
This is Major League Baseball thinks they're going to save time by limiting the number of pickoffs you can have.
Yes, right?
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It's just...
And cutting down on this fucking shifting, okay? Sorry.
I understand the shifting thing. I'm okay with that. But the pickoff thing scares me. Like, oops, you threw over there once. Now that guy had free run.
You get twice, okay? And if you are the runner, the best thing that you could possibly do if you're a Colorado guy is like lead off way far and then just have him do it twice.
Sports,
then you could go like 3/4 of the way to second base because you know he's not going to throw it over there.
In most other sports, there are rules about where a person has to position himself to start the play. So
do we have that in baseball?
In football, they have it. In basketball, they have it. In tennis, they have it. In every sport, they have like you have to start from here. You know what I mean? And it's like, or at least most of the players, they have to be 7 down linemen, right? Or whatever the thing is.
Well,
it's not that weird to say that you can't play out there. You know, I don't.
Shift? You're talking about the shift.
Yeah, the shift. Like the way the rule would be is that you can only have 5 players on one side of the base and only 3 players in the outfield, and that's not a bad. I don't think it'll hurt anybody. That'll be.
What's the point of it? What is the point of making 4 infielders?
The careers of some pretty good players have been torpedoed because the shift has been so good.
How good are these players if they can't?
Was on a Hall of Fame track, but the people that it really kills are left-handed hitters. Now, admittedly, he was a switch hitter, but because he faced mostly righties, he hit lefty a lot. Is that you put all those guys in there, you can cover up those holes and get people out, especially if you don't have great speed.
Mark Teixeira
was, if you look at like one year, he went from being like a 300 hitter with 37 home runs and 120 RBIs to being a 229 hitter. Home runs are always still there, but he just wasn't any good anymore.
Well, if you can't hit the ball to the opposite side of the park, you are not a Hall of Famer. That's all. That's my opinion, and I know that a lot of people
in the Hall of Fame who weren't that good at hitting it to all fields.
Then I guess they're not that good.
But it's the being like I bet if you would have put the shift on against Babe Ruth, his batting average would have dropped about 40 points.
Can't you figure out a way to hit opposite field? Is this possible for people to figure out and learn?
Well, yes, you can. I mean, like when I grew up playing baseball, there was a different philosophy. We were like all Charlie Law guys, right? And Charlie Law was you try to hit the ball at the pitcher and the ball will go in places that are clean. Now, over the last 10 or 15 years, the new thing has been loft and try for home run. And in that design, they go to studios and they look at their swing and look at all their stuff. They tell some people, hey, you can be a 25 home run hitter and hit to all fields, or a 35 home run hitter and be a dead pull hitter, like Jose Bautista or Josh Donaldson or something. And then all of a sudden, and all of a sudden because they're hitting all these home runs, they're getting a thing. And so, I remember David Murphy, who's the guy that played for the Daniel Murphy. He said that he said that I could try to hit the ball to the other side, right? Or I could try to hit the ball over the guy's head. Now, I'm a good enough hitter to hit the ball over the guy's head 3 out of 5 times, right? Mm-hmm. And 1 out of those 5 times is going to hit the wall or go over the wall, and it's going to make up for the ground outs that I make. It's kind of like it's kind of like in basketball where the people shoot for the 3-pointer. It's like if this guy shoots for a home run, even though he may only get a home run 10% of the time, that's going to be 1 run every 10th time, or 9% time, or 8%, 1 time every 12th time. Whereas if he tries to hit the other side, it's just a base hit. And nobody wants, when you're paying somebody to be a big hitter, nobody wants Fernando Tatis or Juan Soto to have a bunt single. No, it's true. The better hitters spray the field. That's why I brought up the thing about Akil Baddoo hitting his 2 home runs to the opposite field. I like that about him. It's a different kind of thing. That was, calling back to the beginning, but it's like you're going to get paid more. You're going to have more success if you hit into the shift, believe it or not.
Malpal, anything else?
No, we can go on and on about these rules.
We totally could. I mean, we could go on for days about these rules, but I think we're good. People's attention span is not that long. So I feel like we gave a lot of good information today. I feel like we gave a lot of good players, late round targets for categories, and I hope everybody has great drafts going on. And Douglas, anything else?
No, that was it. We hit on that one weird point that I wanted. The 2 things in the back of my head was the idea that Eugenio Suarez was going to play. Oh, Austin Nola broke his finger.
Yes, he did. Who's the catcher now, Malpal? On the radio today, I was listening. They were saying that
from Chicago,
Victor Caratini.
No, they said Caratini, but not him. The other guy they said is better.
Well, they got Louis Camposano, who's from the
Yes,
minors.
Campusano.
He's a young guy.
And isn't he the guy you can get really good drugs from?
Drugs.
Who's the guy? Who's the catcher that was caught with like bags and bags of drugs? I thought that was Camposano.
Maybe. I
Well,
don't
I think
know.
he got in trouble, but I don't know whatever happened. He's here, so they must have.
Really, he's playing?
He's in
22.
camp, yeah.
He's only 22. They say he's got an 86% contact rate, but Malpal is right. He's only ever made it as high A. So I
will
say
say this: when I saw him and Mackenzie Gore up in Lake Elsinore in A-ball, the two best players by far. I mean, it's like men among boys. He's a real player.
Is Gore coming up this year? You like Gore?
Absolutely.
But he hasn't even pitched at AAA yet. What is he doing? Has he pitched at AAA? Maybe he did.
I think they're like the Dodgers. I mean, with their acquisitions, they've sort of eaten up those spots.
I keep seeing him really late in drafts. I just keep seeing him on the list, and I keep saying.
I think the Padres situation, you're going to have, you're obviously going to have the three. You have Darvish, Snell, and Paddock. They're going to slow walk Lamet. I mean, I think he's going way overpriced in drafts.
Lamet?
Yeah, that's the spot. If Lamet gets injured, McGore could fill in and have.
Well, Lamet hasn't even pitched in a game yet, so I don't know how. I don't know how anyone thinks he's going to be ready for the season. He hasn't even pitched.
He has pitched in sim games. He's been pitching in sim games. Right or wrong?
Yeah, everyone, and he's pitched bullpens. Everyone's had a great bullpen, right? Just like they show up to camp.
98 miles an hour, 96 miles an hour in his sim games the other day.
They're going to slow walk him because they're going to use a combination, I think, at least through April, of Morion, maybe Gore, and maybe Weathers.
Lamet, with his injury, I'm with you. I really want to like him because he did great for me last year. I was not going to. Yes, he was excellent. But what in the world do we know about his injury and the fact that he did not? What I do know is that he did not have surgery and he did not get anything fixed. So whatever was bothering him,
they shot plasma into him.
Oh,
they did the Garrett Richards thing before the Tommy John surgery.
Stem cells.
Lamet's already had Tommy John, and then he got hurt. So, no, thank you.
He's like Strasburg Jr., dude.
I mean, the guy's just electric, but.
Do you know what? He's always going to be hurt because he's always pitching at 95 miles an hour until 97 miles an hour fastball, dude. That is just asking to be injured. Sorry, your arm is not supposed to throw that hard. That's just the way it is. He will always.
I think you'll see Gore pretty early, unless he can't get command of his pitches, which is he struggled with.
I can't believe what we do not know about the options. That's unfucking believable. Okay, sorry to curse, but it is.
I brought you up something that you can talk about now, and because I think I'm the only person who was mentioning it, so now you can spread the gospel. This is stupid.
Okay, dude. Everybody have a good night.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.